What's up, guys? It's Chris here with Prestige Auto, and today we're going to be changing out the passenger window on this Buick Rendezvous. Now this thing's got a crack in it. Luckily there's some tint on here, so it's holding it in place. But it's got a crack in a couple different places all the way through. I'll show you in just a second. But I'm going to show you guys how to remove your door panel and get this glass out. Then we're going to take a trip down to the local pick and pull and grab ourselves a window. Now you guys might think that this is an expensive process for some of you that don't know, but you can head down to your pull-aparts and get one of these for about 15 to 20 bucks, and it's not too hard of a job. So let's get some tools together. I'm going to show you guys how to pop this panel off. All right, so let's get a look at it right here. You can't even hardly tell. Oh, you can see right there. It's cracked, and then it goes right here all the way. Yeah, you can see, and then it goes here and there. So if it weren't for the tint, this stuff would probably fall out. But we're going to go ahead and, hey, there's a girl. We're going to go ahead and get this panel off. Now these aren't too hard to do. I've taken off many of these. You usually want to look, there's usually a screw up in here somewhere. Sometimes it'll have a little panel you've got to pop off, but this one doesn't. It's a Phillips head. Sometimes, usually around the door handle, you're going to find some bolts or screws there. Again, sometimes down in here, there'll be a couple little covers you'll pop up with, like a small flathead, and there'll be some bolts in there. This one does not. It looks like a 10 millimeter in there. Some other common spots, sometimes they'll have maybe like a little plastic pin or something, or some screws on the side here. This one don't. Sometimes on the bottom, if you look under there, there will be along this area, there will be a couple screws sometimes holding that in. This one don't have none there either. So this one's pretty simple. It looks like we're going to have a screw there and a bolt there. Some vehicles, you will pop this up, get like a little flathead and pop this up. Sometimes there's a bolt inside there. This little thing will come off. Not always, but sometimes this will pop off separately. Sometimes it's one piece. Sometimes you pop this off, there will be another bolt hidden under there somewhere. So let's go ahead. So let's go ahead and take out this screw here and that 10 millimeter. All right, the best way to get this thing off is to just grab it right here and just pull on it. Just jerk on it gently, and it's got little plastic clips that go all along the side right here. They're gonna pop out. So just kind of jiggle on it, and you'll feel it pop free. When you do, just go along the edge and keep these and just pop them out like that. If you feel any resistance, don't pull. I mean, like hard resistance, like there's a bolt in something. There is going to be some resistance from these plastic clips, but you can tell the difference. Pull on that thing, and if you feel something hard, like there might be a bolt there or something we missed. Maybe, sometimes they might pop off this little lens and there might be a bolt in there, but you'll know. Let's go ahead and get this Phillips head out and that 10 millimeter, and then I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, so we've got a couple tools together to get this job. We've got a 10 millimeter here. I've got a Phillips head, and I've got this little tool right here. This is a good one to have to get under the edges right there and pop it up. It's good to get under these little things and pop them up, and it's good to get this right here and pop this little panel off if it needs to come off. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, 10 millimeter inside there. We'll just set this to the side so that we don't lose it, and then we'll get this Phillips head out of the way here. Okay, now like I was saying, you just want to grab it here, and kind of hold it some resistance against the door, and just pull. Yeah, like that. Now she's free. You see that? All right, and you can tell that there's not any other bolts. It looks like this thing's going to come off, so we want to pull this a little bit and just slide that right off there, and that'll free that up. All right. Now, okay, so it looks like it was just hung a little bit. It was a little stuck in there. So grab it and just pull up and pop this seam up right here. Okay, now when you get it off, you don't want to pull it away real fast because there's going to be a lot of plugs plugged in back here. Sometimes your door handle is still going to be attached, so you want to gently reach around and pop that off so that you don't break your clip on the back. Luckily this one stays inside there, so we don't have to deal with that. It looks like we're probably going to have some plugs to our lock, our window, and possibly the speaker, and maybe this light. So we'll just pull it out and look in there and unplug those. All right, now we've got our plugs undone and we can pull our panel away. We'll just set this to the side. And now you can see what we've got behind this panel. There's several holes from where the little plastic clips went in. And I was wrong, we didn't have to unplug the speaker, that was just a cover on there. We did have to unplug the tweeter that was in this little pod, or this little pillar. And one of these, this one's the door lock and this is the window. So now we need to get access to the brackets that hold this window on. Okay, so we'll go ahead and tear this away. Alright guys, we've got that door panel off and we have peeled back this plastic here. It's got some sticky stuff around it, so you'll be able to stick it back up there. Now what we want to do is now we've got to get this window out. We need to be very careful because this one's busted and we don't want it to cut us. So now the way that most of these work, almost all the windows that I've done have been some like this process somehow. If you see here, there's a hole here and there's a hole there. So there's like a little bracket inside the window. It's kind of like it squeezes like this, and there's a bolt that goes through it, and when you tighten it, it pinches the glass here and it pinches it there too to hold it and pull it up and down. So we need to back out those screws. You don't take it all the way out, just loosen it up. And I think it's a 10 millimeter. Now we'll loosen those up and then we'll turn the vehicle on and we'll hit the window button and we'll roll this down. Now some other vehicles, it isn't that easy. It isn't like that when it's up. Some of them, the holes are down here, or some there isn't even a hole. You just got to go in there and roll the window down until you can get access to get those screws and back them out to release from that window. So that's what we're going to do right now. Let's see the flashlight. You can see inside there. Yep, right there. And over here. And we'll just loosen those up and then we'll roll the window down and that should release itself from that window. Now when you roll that down, you want to have this window taped up or be holding it or something, because when that comes down, it's going to come down with it and it might come disconnected and allow that to drop and shatter. So just be careful. Whenever you loosen that up and you roll down the window, this could fall. So let's go ahead and take those out. Alright, we've got our key turned and we've got our button on here now and we have got those screws loose. So let's go ahead and lower this track just a little bit to disconnect from that window. Alright guys, I was wrong. So these bolt holes here are what hold the top of the track in place. Alright, so the second hole here, you got to lower your window. So we're going to have to go ahead and untape it and then lower your window down a little bit until you can see the bolt line up in this hole. Now that's the one holding the damn clamp on. Now there, again, like I told you earlier, there's not a hole over here. You just got to lower it down until you see. Let's lower it down a little bit more. Okay, you can see right there is the bolt for the other one, and they're 10 millimeter. So let's go ahead and loosen that one up, and then we'll raise this one back up until that's in there, and we'll loosen that one up. Alright guys, now that we've gone ahead and got the screws loosened up in the right spots, now this thing is free. But be careful because it's broken. And we're going to go ahead and lower this window down some more to give ourselves some more room. And we're going to pop this thing out of that little basket that it's sitting in and tilt it sideways and kind of walk it out the top. So let's go ahead and lower this window and start working on that thing and getting it out. Alright guys, we went ahead and lowered that window down there. And before we pull it out, I want to show you what I was talking about now that we got a better view of it. So right here is the screw that we loosened up a little bit. And here's the little, I don't know if you can tell, but it's loose. And it just sits in it right there. And there's one up front too, behind that speaker area. But watch when I lift up the window, you can see it comes out of that little spot. It's going to be like that in the front too. So it's free. We're going to go ahead and jiggle that thing out of there and get it out of there. Alright guys, we got that thing out of there. Man, that wasn't too bad at all. Only used a few tools, so we're getting ready to go to the scrapyard now and pick up a window. I hope they got one there. But the only tools that we're going to need to take with us is we got a Phillips head screwdriver and we got a 10mm. I think that's it. I think that's all we're going to need to get this job done. Let me think. We used Phillips head for the door handle, 10mm for the other handle. The rest of it just pulled out, and we had 10mm on the brackets holding in the glass. I think that's all we need. So let's grab our tools together, head on over to CFC. Alright guys, we're out here walking around. Hopefully we can locate this window. They've only got 2 Buick Rendezvous here, so hopefully we'll score on one. It says they're on row 47 and 48, so let's make our way up there. So guys, most towns got a little local pick and pull yard like this right here. Man, it costs $1 to get in. You come out here and pull your own part. Saves you a lot of money. Boom. There's our window. Alright, here's our other one. Let's see if it's got a tinted window with it. I think we got a glass down in there, and these are tinted. We needed a tinted window, so let's try to pull this one out first. Alright guys, we made it out here. We're going to go ahead and yank this one off. Same process as the other one. All right, we scored. It wasn't tinted, but whatever, it'll work. So let's go pay for this thing. All right guys, we were able to score for under 20 bucks. That was $19.45 for that glass. Took about 5-10 minutes of our time, so saved us a lot of money. I think that glass was about $129 on eBay or something like that. So we've got that thing picked up. We're going to head on back to the shop, get it put in. Okay, we're back here at the shop and we have got our glass. So what we want to try to do now is we're going to go and we're going to lower it down in this little space right here. Be careful not to hit this. You want to go in between there and then also over here. Now I'll show you in the next clip how I do it, but the window's like this. I turn it this way and I go over that and through there. Same way we took it out, just kind of go in at an angle and then turn it in there. And when you get it in, you want to make sure that you're setting your little feet down in these spots here and wherever the one is over there. We'll raise it up and we'll check it. So let's get our glass and let's go ahead and lower that thing in and set it down in there. Okay, we've got it set in its place now, so it's in there pretty good. I'm going to turn the key and I'm going to raise the window up a little bit just so it exposes our screws. I'm probably going to get this one about right here and I'll go ahead and snug it down, and then we'll raise this one up in here. We'll make sure it's sitting in the right spot and we'll snug it down. Now you don't want to go too tight with these. Don't use your drill, just use your ratchet and just snug them down, because if you over snug it, it can shatter this glass. So, all right, so we're gonna raise this thing up and go ahead and get it tightened down. Okay, now we're going to go up and down a couple times just to make sure everything's lined up and nothing's messed up. So let's go all the way down. Looks good. All the way up. Bingo, smooth as eggs. So, all right, that turned out all right. We've got our new window in. Remember earlier when I said these were the bolts you were supposed to take out and we loosened those? Make sure you go ahead and snug those back up. Those go to this track. Get those snugged back up. All right, all the way back up. Now we're good to start putting this thing back together. So we're going to start with putting this plastic back over this. Make sure you pull all your wires through, and then we'll get that door panel put on. Okay, now we're ready to put our door panel back on. So we're going to line everything back up. Don't forget your plugs here. This goes to your lock. This one is going to come through for your window switch. And line up your door handle through here. All right, now, like I was telling you earlier in the video, these little white pins right here, all these little white tabs, they're going to go in these holes. Now, sometimes when you pull this off, some of them will pop out of this and get stuck in there. If you have some of those, go ahead and pop those out, pop them back in their place on here, and then we'll get this thing in. Okay, before we snap everything in, remember this top lip, it sits on right here. This piece right here, it kind of cups it and sets on it like that. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to set that up there. And get all that locked back into place. All right. Now, once you get this set in like that, it'll pretty much be hung in place right there. Our wire fell through. You make sure all your wires come through. We'll fish that back out. Okay, got that back out. Now, I'll usually look around the side right here and line up those pins with those little holes and then just slap it in place. So, we'll get them lined up. They all look lined up. We'll just give it a tap like that. And knocks them all back in place, all the tabs. All right, just like that, that's back on there. All right, guys, we really almost got this job wrapped up now. So now we're going to put our window switch back on. Let's go ahead and get that plugged in, and it just kind of locks back in place like that. Now we need to, we're going to put our cover back on here. Something's not lining up with that. So let's pull that back out and look at it. Okay. What do we got going on? Oh, there it goes. It just kind of clicks in. And then we've got the Phillips head. Goes in and holds that in place. All right. We've got a 10mm that goes back in right here. And that's it, guys. We've got this thing all put back together. That wasn't too bad. It was under 20 bucks. This window's dirty. We need to clean it up. But pretty easy job. So guys, if you've got a busted window, don't ride around with plastic on the window or let it rain in your car. Head on down to the local pick and pull and pull yourself out a window and get that thing swapped out. Let's give it one more check, make sure everything's good. Go up and down with the window now that we've got the door panel put back on. All the way down, all the way up, smooth as eggs. All right, guys, I hope this helped you with your busted window. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.